All right, friends, we want to continue the conversation surrounding daylight saving time, specifically when it comes to your sleep. And joining us again is Dr. Antoinette Rutherford, a sleep specialist from Prisma Health. All right, so really quickly, a recap. How do we prepare for the time change this weekend?
So if you can't get into the bed starting tonight, I would say 15 minutes earlier,
Okay.
20 minutes earlier, including your kids. Don't forget about the kids. If not, Saturday morning, get up an hour early. Just set the alarm an hour early and get up an hour early so that way you'll feel a little bit sleepier and go to bed a little bit earlier.
Wise advice. All right, we got to talk about this. Let's get into it. Naps. I have such a hard time going about my day without taking a nap. But my question is, should you take naps? Is it good for you? And how long should the naps even be?
So it depends on the person.
Okay.
So we want to get at least 8 hours as an adult. So between 7 and 9 hours, okay? And so some people do not get that. So there's some thoughts where you can have 2 times a day you sleep. And so they may sleep part of the time in the evening and part of the time during the daytime. So a nap should be about 30 minutes, no longer than an hour. Otherwise, we call it sleep. So
I'm not taking naps. I'm sleeping.
You're sleeping. So you may be doing the bi-sleep. So you may be sleeping twice a day, which is fine. But a nap is no longer than 30, 45 minutes. And so people should set an alarm or have someone to wake them up and say, hey, get up. This is not a nap. Because it can interfere with your sleep. You'll know.
Yes.
And most people know they take naps. They notice the next day, that night, they're having a hard time going to sleep. So if you're having a hard time going to sleep, I would recommend no naps.
Ooh.
I know. It's toddlers, kids, they need their naps. As we get adults, maybe a short, brief nap if you're tired, but if it's interfering with your sleep, no naps at all.
All right, you are the expert, and I'm gonna heed your expert advice. All right, let's talk about how many hours of sleep we should be getting. I know there's this saying like, we can sleep when we're dead, or
Yeah, I used
everybody's
to say
talking
that.
about hustling, and we joke about folks who get 8 hours of sleep. But in all seriousness, we really do need to be getting a good bit of sleep.
We do, and it depends on your age. So like kids need more, and there's a calculator online that can tell you based on your age how much sleep you need. And so it'll tell you if you're 45 how much sleep you need versus if you're 70 how much sleep you need. But it's an average, and so but after you turn 21, maybe between 7 and 9 hours of sleep. And so the best way to tell is that you just go and say, I'm going on vacation, I'm not going to set an alarm, and just see how much time you need to sleep. And so that'll give you an idea generally of how much sleep you need. So some people, it's a bell-shaped curve. Some people can get by with 6 or 7 hours and fine. Some people need 9 or 10 hours, which really sucks because that's most of the day that is gone with sleep. But generally it's 8 hours. So
yeah, and there are definitely some major consequences on your health if you do not get the full amount of sleep you need. Now let's talk about if you have a hard time falling asleep. Okay, I think that I was on melatonin for too long. Can we quickly talk about melatonin? Is it bad? Is it good?
So it depends. Some people may be melatonin deficient, and so they may need a little bit of melatonin to help them to fall asleep. But low dose, some people decide to go high dose, and high dose is like 10 milligrams, 5 milligrams. I would not recommend that. If you're having trouble with falling asleep and maintaining your sleep, I would say start with a low dose, like a 1 milligram, 2 milligram, and see whether that helps you with falling asleep. But there's a variety of reasons why people can have difficulty with falling asleep. So if you're deficient, given the melatonin, it's going to help you. If you take the melatonin and you're not deficient, it's not going to help you. So it just depends on whether you're deficient. And there's not a good test for that, not yet. If you try to do a test, it's very expensive and not worth it. So just trying yourself to see whether melatonin helps. Because too much is bad. Too much of anything is bad, right?
Yeah.
And so there's side effects from having too much melatonin. So sometimes I see people come in and they're taking 20 milligrams of melatonin. And I'm like, no, you cannot be taking 20 milligrams of melatonin. So you have to figure out whether it's what you need or not.
Yes, and if you have really any questions, you need to see an expert like Dr. Rutherford. Thank you so much
You're
for
welcome.
joining us.